I should have kept my mouth shut. That's the first rule of surviving a royal court that isn't your own species. Observe. Listen. Do not improvise. Unfortunately, I have always been very bad at that rule. The Hall of Ascension on Carveth Prime was not designed for humans. The ceiling arched nearly 100 meters above the polished obsidian floor, supported by columns carved from the bones of ancient leviathans. Bioluminescent veins pulsed faintly through the stone, casting everything in shifting silver light. At the far end of the hall stood Queen Aeryn Val'Kora of the Thaurus Dominion. She was taller than any human by half a head, her frame sculpted with a kind of strength that didn't come from decoration or vanity, but from survival. The Thaurus were apex predators long before they became a spacefaring civilization. Their royalty were not figureheads. They led from the front. Her armor, ceremonial, yet unmistakably functional, clung to her form like living metal. It shimmered with energy fields capable of deflecting plasma fire. A long mantle of scaled fabric flowed from her shoulders, embroidered with the sigils of conquered systems. And I, Commander Elias Rhyne of the United Terran Defense Fleet, was standing before her as a diplomatic envoy. Humanity had entered interstellar politics late. We were adaptable, creative, and stubborn, but compared to empires like the Thaurus Dominion, we were children playing among titans. The Dominion had requested an audience after border skirmishes flared between our exploration vessels and their patrols. It was supposed to be a negotiation. Instead, it felt like an evaluation. Her golden eyes locked onto me from across the hall. "You are smaller than our report suggested," she said, her voice resonating through hidden amplifiers. "And you're taller than ours," I replied before my brain caught up with my mouth. A murmur rippled through the Thaurus nobles lining the chamber. The Queen's gaze sharpened. Most species interpreted Thaurus posture as aggression, but I'd study them. Their stance, straight-backed, shoulders squared, was simply default. Still, there was power in her presence. Not just political authority. Physical dominance. I cleared my throat. "Your Majesty, on behalf of Earth, I appreciate the opportunity to stand before a ruler who leads from strength." Her head tilted slightly. "Strength," she repeated. "Yes," I said, nodding toward the massive blade resting at her side. "Your people are renowned warriors. Your leadership isn't symbolic. It's earned." Silence. The noble stiffened. And then, slowly, the Queen descended the steps of her throne. "You praise my strength," she said, stopping a few paces away. Up close, I could see faint scars tracing along her forearms, old battle marks, not hidden. "I do." Her lips curved in something that was not quite a smile. "Then demonstrate your understanding of it." My stomach dropped. "I'm sorry?" A low rumble of amusement passed through the court. The Queen unfastened the clasp of her mantle and let it fall. The impact echoed faintly against the obsidian floor. "In Thaurus culture," she said, "to praise a ruler's strength is to acknowledge it. To acknowledge it is to test it." She drew her blade in one fluid motion. The weapon hummed with contained energy. "I accept your challenge. I didn't issue. You did." The court erupted in approval. 2 guards stepped forward and placed a weapon at my feet. Not ceremonial. Real. I stared at it. I had trained my entire life. Terran Fleet Academy. Close quarters combat. Zero-gravity duels. But this was different. This wasn't a sparring match. This was the queen of a warrior empire. And she was smiling. The arena beneath the Hall of Ascension was older than the palace itself. Circular. Carved from black stone. Its walls bore the names of past champions, some crossed out, some glowing faintly. The nobles filled the tiers above, their armor glinting. A translator drone hovered near my shoulder. "You may yield at any time," it whispered. I wasn't sure if that was reassurance or a warning. Across the arena, Queen Aeryn rolled her shoulders once, loosening muscle. Even without her mantle, she radiated command. "You may choose the terms," she said. I swallowed. No energy projection. No lethal strikes. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "You fear death. I respect it." A pause. Then she nodded. Accepted. The gong sounded. She moved first. Not with reckless speed, but with terrifying precision. Her blade came down in a controlled arc. I barely brought mine up in time to deflect. The impact jolted my arms to the bone. She didn't overcommit. Didn't waste motion. Every strike tested. Measured. I pivoted, countered low. She blocked with effortless strength. "You are not weak," she observed mid-clash. "Thanks," I grunted. She pressed harder. The crowd roared. I realized quickly that I couldn't overpower her. That wasn't the point. Humans didn't win by brute force against species like the Thalrus. We won by adapting. She lunged. I stepped inside her guard, not away from it, close enough to disrupt leverage. Her eyes flashed with surprise as I twisted, redirecting her momentum instead of meeting it head-on. She stumbled half a step. The arena fell silent, not because I had won, but because I had survived that exchange. The queen recovered instantly, sweeping low. I leapt back, barely avoiding being knocked off my feet. "You adjust quickly," she said. "We have to." Minutes passed. Sweat blurred my vision. My muscles screamed. But I noticed something. She wasn't trying to humiliate me. She was studying me, testing not just strength, but resolve. Finally, she drove me to one knee, her blade resting at my throat. The crowd erupted in triumph. I exhaled slowly. I yield. She didn't strike. Instead, she leaned closer. "You did not break," she said quietly. "Didn't want to disappoint you." For the first time, she laughed. It was sharp and genuine. She withdrew her blade and extended a hand. I took it. She pulled me to my feet with effortless power. Then, to the shock of every noble in the arena, she raised my arm. "The human envoy stands," she declared. He praised strength and did not crumble before it. The silence that followed was not mockery. It was respect. The duel changed everything. Negotiations that would have taken months accelerated in days. The Dominion's generals no longer dismissed humanity as fragile. But that wasn't the real shift. The real shift happened in private. She summoned me to her war chamber that evening. No court. No audience. Just the two of us and a holographic map of contested space. "You risked much today," she said. "So did you." Her brow arched. "You are an envoy. If you had fallen, you would have ensured I didn't." A long pause. "You assume much." I observed much. Her fingers traced star systems in the projection. "My people respect strength, but they mistake it for dominance alone. And you don't." She looked at me. "Strength is endurance, adaptation, the refusal to yield to despair." That sounds almost human. "Perhaps," she said softly. Weeks passed. I remained on Carveth Prime longer than planned, finalizing treaties. But each evening, she summoned me, not for diplomacy, for training. "Again," she would say, as blades clashed in controlled practice. Bruises faded. Muscles adapted. We spoke between strikes. Of leadership. Of sacrifice. Of the loneliness that comes with command. "Your court expects you to be invincible," I said once. "They expect certainty," she corrected, "even when none exists." That's a heavy crown. Yes. And you still carry it. She met my gaze.
So do you.
The assassination attempt came without warning. A faction within her court, traditionalists who believed humans weakened the Dominion, detonated charges during a joint fleet inspection. The sky above Carveth Prime lit with fire. Warships turned against their own. In the chaos, a strike team breached the palace. I was in the training hall with her when alarm screamed. She didn't hesitate. Stay behind me, she ordered. Not happening. Armed with training blades, now fully energized, we met the attackers in the corridor. They expected a queen guarded by ceremony. They found a queen forged in war, and a human who had learned her rhythm. We fought back to back. Her power shattered armor. My precision exploited openings. At one point, an assassin lunged from her blind side. I intercepted. The blade grazed my shoulder instead of her spine. She roared, a sound that shook the corridor. Together, we drove them back. When the last of them fell, the palace lay scarred but standing. Blood stained the obsidian floors. She turned to me, fury fading to something else. You disobeyed me, she said. You would have done the same. A long silence. Then she stepped closer. You praised my strength, she said quietly. But today, you showed me yours. The rebellion collapsed within days. The loyal fleets rallied. The Dominion stabilized. And something unspoken settled between us. On the eve of my departure back to Earth, she stood with me on the balcony, overlooking her capital. You will return? She asked. As envoy.
Her gaze held mine.
As you are. I hesitated.
Diplomacy had changed.
The Dominion no longer saw humanity as prey or novelty. They saw us as equals in potential. And she no longer saw me as a curiosity. You challenged me the moment I opened my mouth, I said. You challenged yourself. I smiled faintly. If I come back, will you duel me again? Her lips curved. Every time. She extended her hand, not as queen to envoy, but as warrior to warrior. I clasped it. Next time, I said, I won't kneel. Her eyes gleamed. I would expect nothing less. When my shuttle lifted from Carveth Prime, I looked back at the towering spires and warships orbiting like silent guardians. I had arrived as a diplomat seeking peace. I left having earned something rarer than treaty signatures. Respect. And perhaps something more. Across the stars, rumors would spread of a human who praised a warrior queen's strength and was tested, of a duel that reshaped an empire's perception, of a bond forged not in submission, but in challenge. History often turns on grand battles, but sometimes it turns on a single reckless compliment and a queen who answers. Prove it.